morning, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday meditation on today, February 1st. We have a full moon in Leo. I'm feeling it. Everybody else is. Anyway, that's not why we're here. So this morning we will be practicing meditation together. It's a little bit on actually, let's start with our aspiration. So we start setting the aspiration, or maybe the motivation of why we come to meditate, right? With these prayers by Shantideva. So, may all beings always have happiness in its causes. May all beings always be free of pain and its causes. May all beings always be pain-free and live happily. May no beings ever cling to those near nor spurn those far. For as long as space abides, as long as the world remains, just so long may I be there, resolving all beings' pain. And we start our meditation sessions, and really any Dharma talk or anything related to Buddhism with this aspiration to not just want to be more present, not just want to practice for me, but also recognizing that if I'm suffering, everybody else is suffering, right? Buddhism says we're all equal, we're all the same because we all want to be happy. Right? We're equal in that desire, in that wanting to be happy. And therefore, as we begin to familiarize ourselves with our own neurosis and our own suffering, we realize that everybody also is suffering. And then we bring compassion into it, right? We open our heart. And compassion is not, oftentimes we think of compassion as going outwardly, but it's a state of mind. I was listening to spiritual materialism. And he's talking about how, compassion is kind of a state of mind, not really it doesn't have to be a doing mind. It's really, you're just compassionate. You're just open. And when you're open in that compassionate way, you are compassionate to yourself and compassionate to others around you. It's not just always in how we sometimes feel like we're just, I'm compassionate, I gotta go help everybody in spite of my own best interest, right? So anyway, all Buddhist traditions that I know of, but I'm not going to assume that I know all of them, have this ideal of pursuing liberation, not just for ourselves, but for the benefit of all sentient beings. Certainly all Mahayana, the middle way, the middle path, the great path, practices are focused and rooted in the mind of awakening, which is compassion, loving, joyful, and equanimous. So that's why we set up that motivation at the beginning. And then let's talk a little bit about what we're doing today. We're going to be meditating on an object, right? So the purpose of meditating, or having an object of meditation and then paying attention to that object for a prolonged period of time, is that we're training in mindfulness. We're training in choosing to pay attention to something and being able to pay attention to it for a prolonged period of time. I think as mammals in general, it's very easy for us to get distracted and have our attention go here and there. But I think as humans in the 21st century, our attentions are everywhere, right? So I think it's very apropos to our times to sit down and say, hey, I'm going to train in paying attention, right? One of my early lamas would talk about ADD, attention deficit disorder, is a diagnosis, right? But really we all have it. We all have a deficit of attention, right? Or we're jumping from here to there. And sometimes it's if you really start to pay attention, sometimes our attention spans are 15 seconds or less, right? We gotta get the next fix of dopamine. So being able to slow down and pay attention to one thing for a prolonged time, it's starting to push that threshold of our ability to have an attention span that can pay attention to something for longer. And that becomes a tool for us, right? Like when we make our mind pliable, we can work with it, we can pay attention longer, we have better mindfulness. Now we can focus it on something, right? And that's a choice. Like, what do you want to focus it on? That's a different conversation and maybe a different teaching, the next teachings. But at the basis, as far as I know, all if not most Buddhist traditions have some sort of mindfulness practice, because you do have to work with your mind and make it pliable first and foremost before you can start doing the next thing, right? If we get easily distracted, what's the point of doing like this high yoga tantra or whatever if you can't pay attention to it? So specifically, we will be paying attention to our breath as the object of meditation. So I'll guide you a little bit through feeling and finding your breath in your body, and then we'll just pay attention to that, and you'll get distracted, and I'll encourage you to come back, and it's okay, right? That is the practice. You will get distracted. If you don't get distracted, you don't get to practice. So a little bit of thankfulness here for our distractions. And then we'll intersperse the sound, a sacred syllable, hung. Do it about every, let's say 7 to 9 minutes. We'll chant hung. And then so it's just, we're still paying attention to an object. We're just changing the object from breath to sound. In particular, this sound hung is related to the Buddha mind, and it was given to our teacher, Lama Rinzing, by her teacher, Ansem Rinpoche, who's back here, as something like simple but very profound that can be useful or interesting to both beginners and advanced practitioners and everybody in between. So I'll kind of signal for that, and then we'll chant hung together. And I just invite you to pay attention to that. And we're just moving our objects of attention, right? All right, stop talking. Let's breathe. Bring your attention home to your body, to the present moment. Noticing your breath, maybe at your nose, maybe your rib cage and your lungs as they expand and contract. Or if you're familiar with the root of the breath at the Do, Dantian, Muladhara. So this is about 3 fingers widths down from your navel and 3 finger widths in, kind of the bottom of your belly. That's where the bad breath starts. If you can find that there, great. If not, anywhere is okay, as long as it's easily and readily available for you. But try to have full inhalation so that it starts at your belly, the bottom of your belly, that expands through your lungs and your rib cage, and it tops out at your collarbones. And then your exhalation should take about the same time as your inhalation, making sure you're not holding on to your exhalation, but you're actually taking it to completion. Noticing any tension in your body that might have built through the week, through the years, through, however long. Maybe your shoulders are a little high, close to your ears. Maybe your jaw is clenching. Maybe your belly's tight. As you exhale, just letting go a little bit and relaxing those areas. And noticing the contact with your seat. If you're in a cushion, maybe moving back and forth and finding a place where both your sits bones are equally putting pressure on your cushion. If you're in a chair, bringing both your feet to the ground to feel grounded. Finding a comfortable seated position. And noticing the support that Earth gives to you, right? She embraces us in its gravity. No expectation, just supporting us. The ground of Earth holds us here. Just feeling supported by Earth. If it helps, visualizing how the center of your being is directly aligned with the center of Earth, right? That's how gravity works. We all get pulled towards the middle. Then noticing the solidity of your bones, of your ligaments, and how they allow you to sit here, how they support you, being able to stand up straight, sit down without just crumbling, and feeling supported by our skeletal structure. And then feeling into the center of your body. It's called the central channel, right? It starts at the dough, where we talked about 3 fingers width down and 3 fingers width in from the navel. And it tops out at the crown of your head. It's always straight and it's blue. And traditionally, in the yogic philosophy of the East, this is where your awareness lies in your body. So feeling supported by the center of your being, by the fact that you are aware, that you have a mind, feeling supported that way. And from those 3 pillars of support, just pay attention to your breath. Maybe your attention has wandered to thoughts of the past, or maybe things you have to do in the future, or maybe things you're worried about. None of that is going to get taken care of right now, so let go of that. Just bring your attention back to your breath without judgment, without expectation. Just paying attention to the breath as it comes in and out of you. And we'll chant Hung. Just noticing the state of your mind, state of your body, curiously, without any expectations. And just bringing your attention back to your breath. Remembering to take full, even breaths, starting with our bellies, expanding to our rib cage, topping at our collarbones, and then just evenly exhaling for as long as we inhale, you get distracted, just noticing the distraction, gently touching it, thought, sound, sight, whatever the distraction might have been. Not fighting it, right? The more you try to suppress it, the more it arises. But also not clinging to it, because then it just takes you along for the ride. Just notice it, and just gently bringing your attention back to your breath. Also not being disheartened by your thoughts. You have a mind, you have thoughts. That's okay. And we'll chant Hung again. noticing and being curious in what that feels like. Maybe it doesn't feel like anything, and that's okay. We're just paying attention here. And bringing your attention back to our breaths. Noticing if any tension has crept back into your body. Inhaling space into whatever area might be tense. And exhaling out of your mouth, letting go of that tension. You can do this at any point in time during meditation, and you notice that tension just builds up in the body. Just giving yourself permission to let go. As I get distracted and I bring my attention back to your breath, I find it encouraging to remind myself that the difference between an advanced practitioner and a beginner is not that they don't get distracted, but it is that they come back to the object of meditation more often. So don't be discouraged if you're distracted. Just remember to come back. chant Hung one last time. Thank you for sharing your breath with me this morning. I will now read from this book. I'm going to share a chapter from this book, Comfortable with Uncertainty by Pema Chodron. Basically, this book is a series of short chapters, right? Each chapter is about a page. Some of them are 2 pages, but generally speaking, about a page. It's like pithy instructions. Today I'm going to be reading chapter 22 on page 24. Oh, yes. I'm also going to pass around the book of names. Oh, there's a pen. We put names in here of anybody that, might need an extra, love, compassion in their lives today. Or people that might have passed away and just need guidance in that transition. You put yourself in if you feel like you just need it right now, or really just whomever. Just please put names in there and pass it around. I think the tassel should be in the right place. So back to the book, page 24, chapter 22, nothing is solid. Moving away from our experience, moving away from the present moment with all our habits and strategies, and always adds up to restlessness, dissatisfaction, and unhappiness. The comfort that we associate with concretizing and making things solid is so transitory, so short-lived. Moving into our experience, whether it is opening experience of love and compassion or closing down experience of resentment and separation, bring us an enormous sense of freedom, the freedom of nothing solid. Something about nothing solid begins to equal freedom. In the meantime, we discover that we would rather feel fully present to our lives than to be off trying to make everything solid and secure by engaging in our fantasies of our addictive patterns. We realize that connecting with our experience by meeting it feels better than resisting it by moving away. Being on the spot, even if it hurts, is preferable to avoiding. As we practice moving into the present moment this way, we become more familiar with groundlessness, a fresh state of being that is available to us on an ongoing basis. This moving away from comfort and security, this stepping out into what is unknown, uncharted, and shaky, that is called liberation. Right? I mean, so the three noble truths, or the four noble truths of Buddhism talk about, like life's suffering, right? That's the first noble truth. But the next one is why do we suffer, right? And we suffer because we try to grasp at things that are impermanent, and we want to keep them permanent. Or vice versa, something's happening and we want to push it away because we think it's permanent, right? We think that bad thing that is happening to us is permanent. So we're always interacting with reality as if it was permanent. And that's actually really unsettling because that's not the reality of how things work. Everything is transitory. Everything is ever-changing. There's the old story of the disciple that went to their master, crying. It's like, whatever, like all these bad things have happened to the disciple, and it's like, oh my God, master, like it's just so awful. What can I do? And the master was like, well, this too shall pass, right? And this will change. And the disciple goes away, and indeed that passes and it changes, and then good things start to happen. It goes back to the master. It's like, oh my God, master, you were right. Bad stuff passed, and now everything's great. The master says, this too shall pass. And it did, right? So I think it feels really uncomfortable to move out of that place of wanting to have control, to fix things, for things to be solid. But as you actually start to notice how reality just kind of flows, is changing, we begin to find that groundlessness is freedom, right? It's freedom from eternal damnation, eternal happiness too, right? That's why bodhicitta talks about, like, it's open, it's joyful, it's loving, it's compassionate, right? Not always happy. It's not always happy. That's not the reality of how things work, but it can be. We can look for contentment and joy in the changing nature of reality. Questions, comments, concerns? Love to hear from y'all. Yeah, I mean, I think even when we meditate, it's noticeable that things are changing, right? Like our distractions, our mind, it's always going here, going there, and we want to grasp it, right? We want to pay attention to that object, and we want to have control. And that in itself can actually break off, like it can be distracting. This desire to control even ourselves actually breaks us out of the present moment. Um, so interestingly enough, like even in meditation, it's relevant to think that um, our desire to control will actually make it worse. Um, like pay attention when that distraction arises, when you go try to grab onto it and put it down, it proliferates. It becomes stronger. It's really interesting. I mean, check it out for yourselves. Don't believe me, but it's. I've always noticed that like the more I fight my thoughts in meditation, the worse it gets. But when you kind of interact with your thoughts, like I like the image of like letting go of a dog in a dog park. They're safe. You don't have to control it. You just kind of take it off leash and just let the dog do its thing. It's a lot easier to keep attention in your breath when you're not trying to fight that ebbs and flows of your mind. All right, kind of quiet this morning. That's cool. Well, let's breathe for a couple of minutes, and then we'll dedicate our practice. Feeling back into the three pillars of support, noticing the ground, the support of earth, and solidness that holds us here without judgments and without expectations. Noticing the support from your skeletal structure that allows you to sit here. It feels solid, feels supportive. Noticing how you have awareness in your body, at least traditionally, that awareness comes from your central channel, the core of your being. And feeling supported by that. Maybe for a minute or two, you try to meditate with your eyes open. In our tradition, we meditate with our eyes open because we're not practicing to run away from the world. We're practicing to show up more presently. And as a symbol of that, we meditate with our eyes open. we'll include the names from afar in the book, and we'll dedicate our merit for today's practice. And generally, I'll just talk while we're waiting a little bit about dedicating the merit, right? So, I suspect that it's kind of like we're inoculating ourselves from becoming too selfish or self-involved when we meditate. But generally speaking, in Tibetan Buddhism, when we finish any practice, we hope that we accumulated some merit through that practice, that something good came of it for ourselves. And thus, we take that merit that we might have created, and when we give it out to everybody, right? We share it with all sentient beings. So it kind of just breaks that barrier of like, it's very easy to start meditating and just be like a hermit and kind of be very self-focused, right? Like that attention turns inward. I think, and that can, we get very ego-focused or like just self-focused, and that's not the intent of what we practice for, right? So you finish your practice, it might have been like intensely self-focused, you might have been dealing with your trauma, with your neurosis or whatever, and then you turn it back around. And I think it's just a beautiful thing of how the tradition chooses to close our practices. Thank you. All right. Put some prayers up. We'll dedicate our merit. By this good may I swiftly once become a great guru, lead all beings, everyone, to reach to that very ground. With all of you in mind, we light this lamp of clarity. May the glow of love, wisdom shine within us, everyone, till we all rise forth born in one enlightened mandalam. And we dedicate our merit to all sentient beings, but in particular today, to Madeline Ju, Hap P, Ban P, Meta G, Rena S, Valerie, Amy, Tex, Darcy, Dad, Nancy, Robert's mom, Ginger's dad, Bardo, Jerry's healing, Connie Swift, Amy Winters healing, Doug's healing, Jake's healing, Pat's healing, Ruth's healing, Emily, Candace, Lama Ridzing, Lama Namyal, Lama Sharab, all sentient beings, myself, my wife, my son, my daughter, my parents, my sister, my pet, Bree, David, Jason, Guillermo, all living creatures, Erica, Chuck, Philip, Neto, all animals and wildlife, Catherine, myself, my wife, Pablo, Derry, Juan, Martha, Roman and Maricela, Papa, Susie and Joey, Grandma, Mom, Jerry, Joe, Pat, Judy, Angie, Edward, Rachel, Jessica, Mary Ann, Addie and Bardo, Cherry, Patty, Sherry, Ellen, Self, Max, Jane, Auntie, Bob, Annie, Bob, Karen, Grist, our humanity, our country, victims of oppression. And we'll close our practice with awe, just the syllable awe. And it's kind of radiating white light from your heart. First and foremost, from your heart to yourselves, right? You're giving light to yourself. Then you're sharing it with everybody here in the room and afar. But you're also receiving it from everybody here in the room and afar. And then just like Harvey says, let it rip. Let it go wherever your imagination might want your light to go. Just to encourage you, if your imagination can touch it, let it touch it. Ah. Thank you again for sharing your breath with me this morning. I don't think I introduced myself. My name's Paulo. Yeah, if you have questions, concerns, comments, you can come up. I'm happy to try to point you in the right direction. I don't know everything by far, but yeah, have a good rest of your Sunday. Thank you.